I can hold myself pretty accountable, but like George said, you don't want to let that other person down, and you want to step up, and you want to make sure that you're carrying your weight. And so when you've got two people pulling in the same direction, it creates a movement.
I can almost hear someone say, well, how does that help me if we take our agent count from X to X plus? And what I would say is we want to bring on agents that want to work. I don't want you guys to be thinking like we're trying to bring on any competition. These folks are out there working somewhere else already. They might as well work alongside you. I'd like our agents to be the source of the news, so they need to be in front of their database, debunking some of the grim news that's out there.
Welcome to Signature Buzz, your fast-paced weekly real estate sales meeting.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to the Signature Buzz. I get to be the host MC today and interview two pretty prominent Las Vegas realtors, at least when it comes to signature and my paycheck. I got George and Brandon here with me. And I want to step back and kind of recap what's happened over the last 4 weeks. On September 24th, we had a special announcement town hall. Brandon and I rolled that out here at Signature and let our agents know that we had some great news. And then George, you snuck onto the call and surprised everybody, and we shared the news that GK Properties and Signature Real Estate Group were merging. And then not too long after that, we had a grand opening event for George, your office in Green Valley, which is just down from the Signature office in Green Valley. And we had this grand opening event, and we had another special surprise, and the governor showed up. Every week there's been something incredible happening with the merger that's going on. But today we're going to talk about how it affects every agent in the company, what it means to the marketplace. And so I'm going to grill the two of you about that. And I kind of think it seems like a joke in some ways that we should start this off with three presidents walk into a real estate company, right? Because in common right now, Brandon, you're the state president, George, you're the local president. I'm a has-been of both. It's pretty incredible that we now have 7 real estate industry presidents here that are signature agents. And I think that's an amazing tie-in. But it isn't because of that, right? I mean, you guys didn't start the conversation for fun that way. How did this all start?
I would say it's not related at all. I mean, what we're going to talk about with our agents and where we want to grow our business, really, to me, I can't speak for Brandon really, but this doesn't have anything to do with the volunteer work that I do with the association. That volunteer work, you always say, well, why am I doing this? I've asked myself over and over again. Brandon is why I got to meet him. I got to, visit with him, bet on a plane, and we start talking about our lives and our business and, how we try to help our agents. And this is a blessing that came from serving for me. But, I'm not a past president yet. So I'm not one of those. So I still have the chair.
I think you're close enough. I mean, if you already kind of have served 11 and a half months and now you're leading into your actual time, I mean, we're just semantics at this point. It's interesting you say that because I wouldn't be sitting here if what hadn't been for my board service. And that's how I didn't meet Brandon on a plane. It was more at a bar. Yeah. They don't have bars on planes the same way. No, we were sitting in a conference and I met him at that conference and we really started talking and that's going to be here. But Brandon, for you, how did it kind of get rolling to your perspective?
Well, like he said, I mean, for me, the best thing that has come out of serving is relationships. Because like George, I ask myself on a regular basis, why the heck am I doing it? Because it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a privilege to give back. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not saying that I regret it in any way, because I don't. But it does take away from your business, and there's a lot of sacrifice that happens. And there's the relationships are really what come out of it. And so what happened for me was, when George was thinking about running, he was asking around and what it kind of entailed. And that meant a lot to me too, that somebody would just even ask, right? As he was putting his thing in, and we tricked him and he ended up running. He thanks me for it every day, I think. But in doing that, I started to watch him a little bit, watch him on social media, that kind of stuff. Got to know him, like you said, on plane travel, at these different conferences. And one of the things that I've always looked at in life is, because I came from the franchise background too, is I would never sell a franchise to somebody that I wouldn't work with, right? Or work for. And one of the things I said, if I wasn't a broker in town, who would I work for? And it was George. George is the one guy that I would probably have worked for if it wasn't having my own shop. And so I actually joked around with him one day and I said, why don't you just buy me and I'll come work for you? Right. And he goes, no, I don't want to do that. And so that's kind of where it started. Right. And then we just kind of toyed with it a little bit and started talking, and it just kind of morphed into it, and things just lined up. We have a lot of the same values. He takes care of his people. I take care of my people. At least I like to think I do. And we have a lot of loyalty. His agents are super loyal to him, and I feel like our agents are super loyal on the signature side. And so it just matched. And then as we started to bring this together, just the camaraderie and everything else between the two groups of agents and stuff, it just seemed right.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, as you go through the story and how you meet somebody, and you go through this trial that you guys have been through. I mean, both of you actually have had extremely interesting years, because Brandon, you were kind of thrust into extra service, and George, same thing to you. So you guys have been trial by fire. And I think that bonds people when you go through something like that. But it's incredible how it puts you in the position to have this conversation. We tell our agents all the time, make the call, just ask the question. And it's amazing what incredible things happen when you put those type of things out there. George, I didn't know you that well until the last probably, 8-9 months that we've got to know each other. And I see a lot of commonalities between the way you do things, the way Brandon does things, but you guys approach it from a completely different angle. And I think that's a great addition to the company and what it stands for. What do you guys kind of feel, foundationally, because of the strength of both companies now merging together? What is that foundation all about?
We're looking, I think we're both bringing what's worked for each of us to the table, and then we're revisiting what maybe didn't work for each of us under our old, roofs collectively. For me, we were a large team. I mean, ultimately, that when I looked at what GK Properties was, it was a really large team. And so I wanted to make sure that could continue, but there were folks that didn't want all of the bells and whistles of the team. They wanted a good, safe place to work and work with people that they wanted to work with, and they were able to. And I think that's what Signature had that I didn't. So I think it's double down on what was already working, but it's taking advantage of the benefits that we didn't have that Signature did. So that's was my view.
Brandon?
Well, and I think for me, it's exciting to be able to reimagine everything, right? And to look at things from another perspective, and have somebody kind of look under the hood of what you're doing and be able to look under the hood of what they're doing and say, you know what, I really like that, or we should reimagine this. Like, the three of us are meeting on a regular basis and really diving into everything about this company. And that was, to me, that's exciting, is being able to reshape it and set it up for the future. And this gives us that opportunity. And this gives me a working partner that's actually going to go to work, roll up his sleeves. I'm impressed with the amount of things George accomplishes, the amount of business that his team does, and the systems and stuff that he's put in place to be able to manage that, right? And I think that brings a lot of value to Signature. And it's going to help us streamline a lot of things and put a lot of things together to be more efficient. So I'm super excited about bringing his knowledge and what he brings to the table into the Signature brand.
I kind of see it like a cultural power boost that we've just had. And you've seen that at the events already. You've seen it in the conversations with the agents. I always have said people that work with me are happier, healthier, better looking people based on a study I made up. But I think the whole point is that, you feel that culture now already in the company with the events and things that are happening, the leaders lunch that we had, the Trump retreat that's being set up. I mean, everyone is jumping in and making something better. And I think that's huge. Let's talk about the individual agent. Why is this good in your perspective for every single agent at the company? Not just for you guys, but for them.
I just think synergy, right? Synergy is a big thing. It has also brought a ton of excitement back. Like, immediately when we announced this, I felt the energy shift in the company. Agents started coming back into the office. They were excited. They showed up to the open house that we had over at his location there, and just being able to be around other agents. I mean, just on that level alone, it just changes things, right? You've got to get out of your own head sometimes And this market's been tough, right? And if you kind of fester that in your head and you're not around other successful people, that tends to slow you up or get in your way. And so just seeing success breeds success. So right off the top, it's just the cultural change or the energy of everybody that together, the collaborative environment that's going to push us forward. And that's not even talking about any of the tools or anything else, but that's for me is like the biggest thing right off the top.
George,
I'd add to it, Chris, and say, for the agents that are at Signature, and especially the ones that are doing well and thriving and already were loyal, like nothing had to change. The only difference is they have me now. And so any little thing that I can bring, add culture, be on the other side of a transaction, partner up if they need a big brother on one or make a call, do something. So, I want to be a driver. I want to help, open doors for people. But ultimately, a lot of our agents are already doing the work, and ultimately there doesn't need to be a change. There was already a Cadillac product in place at Signature. Signature didn't need me. I want to be a benefit and a blessing. I mean, the thing was, I was honored to become a part of this company. Like and the flip side of it is if I wanted to be an agent somewhere, I would have been one at Signature. I just think it's a win-win all the way around. And we're looking under the hood. I don't think we have something today to say that we exactly know what the future benefits are, but I know that I want every Signature agent to have every opportunity they can. We can't do the work for them. We got to go to work. I mean, that's not going to change. We all know that. But if someone's willing and able and working, we want them to be, rewarded.
So I see it as, culmination of market share is really important when it comes to a real estate operation, not for the notoriety or the awards or anything like that, but for foundational operation to make sure that the company is secure, to make sure that the agent's position in the marketplace is secure. And George, I've got to say, I mean, you're very humble about it, but you have a very large market share with a smaller group of agents that's pretty competitive against even large companies. And so I think that for our agents, that foundation is massive. Those signs in the yard with their logo on it is massive. And when they're out there touting, competing against some of these major, huge franchises, they're able to be proud and say, my numbers are just as good as yours. And it's because of the culmination of all of us together. And I think that's, you guys sell a lot of houses. And from that process that you guys go through, you have great infrastructure. And I'm excited that that's going to filter around the entire company for those support services and value. In any merger, nothing completely changes, but also nothing completely stays the same. Brandon, what do you kind of see changing initially, or that you're focused on upgrading or downgrading, or just your thoughts?
Well, like he said, there's a lot of things with Signature that are working, right? And so it's not about revamping everything, but it is looking at everything and seeing if it's the most efficient way to do it. I mean, right now, the biggest thing we're working on is what Henderson looks like. And what I mean by that is we've got two pretty good sized locations, very, very close to.
We are Henderson. We will own Henderson.
Yes.
Henderson Real Estate is Signature Real Estate. And you can send this out to everybody. And this is us. I mean, we will be the place. And forget it. Like, that part excites me a lot.
Yeah. And the plans on the drawing board for what that office looks like, everything else, I mean, I'm excited about it. And so I'm on the agents, stay tuned what that plan looks like as it's coming through. We don't know exactly. We do know that we own Henderson, just like he said. But we don't know exactly what that's going to look like in the end. But there's a lot of things up there on the board, and it's going to be big.
Let's talk about that just for a second, because I want to be very specific for those agents, because a lot of them may have concerns. What are you telling me? We're talking about upgrades. We're talking about upgrades to the office itself, but we're going to have to bring those two things together, because your plan isn't to operate two office locations, eyesight from each other, right?
No, and any broker manager or owner knows that you always go into taking a space on with glass half full, that everyone's going to come to work, but you can walk into any office in town, including ours sometimes, and folks are in the field or they're home. So we want to be mindful of cost and efficiency. We want to reward agents that come in and like brick and mortar and want to go to work, but we want to see them there. So we're we're looking at like who comes in and trying to figure out a flow and where it's going to be. But ultimately, it'll either be, hopefully, we'll be at the current signature office. It'll just be reimagined into a brand new space with a different meeting room and different flow. If that, we always negotiate. If that doesn't work out, there's a very, very, very nice plan A minus. I wouldn't even call it a plan B. It'll be an A minus. And so we want to see our people there, but ultimately Brandon and I want space that we know will be used. So, no news today, but something's coming.
But what I will say is there will be a place for everybody. So it's not like we're people that have a place that come in are going to lose. They're going to have their space or their opportunity for their space to put their pictures on the wall, that kind of stuff, if that's what they choose to do.
So it's kind of interesting because our current signature Green Valley location is approaching 10 years old. And, it's just like any house that our agents are selling. No one wants the old style. They want the new cutting edge style. And I think what kind of intrigues me about both of you is you want to maintain that foundation, but yet enhance it. George, you used the word reimagine. I think of Walt Disney every time I hear that. I'm going to go Disney again. But that's the exciting part of it, right? I mean, it's the reengineering of what's working and keeping it crisp and fresh and not losing the entertaining part of that. Our agents love the entertaining space. And that's something we noticed in your office. It's something we have in ours. And so that will absolutely happen. But I think the point would be, more offices, more interactive space that complements the others. So glad to hear that. Let's talk about some, just ancillary benefits that you guys see. I mean, George, you made the comment, for the signature agents here, nothing's changing on their comp plan. For the GK agents, it's an upgrade now that we're all signature agents together. What do you see are some ancillary benefits that will come from it?
I think more will come down the road. I think there'll be an opportunity for signature agents to look and see if they want to be a part of different lead sources that might not have been, under the roof. We are a Zillow Flex team. There will be room to bring some agents in at some point. Folks that want that. I know Brandon ultimately teaches a kind of a different mentality of real estate, which is like, stay in front of your database and cultivate business. You never want to rely on a third party source. Somebody can shut the spigot off tomorrow. So although I do think it's something we could offer up, but ultimately we want to make sure we're revisiting like the basics, right? Staying in front of the database management. We just got off a call now on, helping our agents stay in front of their sphere, touch points and whatnot. So we want to help make the business as easy as we can for folks. We're looking at all the different tools that are out there, but ultimately we want to just remind them, hey, you got to come in, you got to go to work, and we want to celebrate them if they do.
So I want to stand on that for a second, just because something interesting I found out, you were poorly stigmatized by one word over and over and over, thinking that was your business. And what I've come to find out is you have a massive database. Like you've sold 10,000 plus homes and you work a database, and now you're reaping all of these benefits from these different systems. It's not just one place. And so what I love about it for our agents is there are some people that need that jump start. There are some people that need that 9 to 5 setup with constant activities. You now have the ability to provide that so they don't have to look for it elsewhere, which on a very large scale, by the way, you have a team of, I believe, 40 already, and you're talking about enhancing that dramatically. And so like that availability is there for the agents. Anything else you want to highlight on it?
Yeah, I mean, there might be people that work at Signature that have second jobs that are transplants, don't have the large database. And for those folks, these type of tools might be a fit. They might be able to plug in, plug out and do some business because they don't have it. Our agents that have been here a long time, I think Brandon, I and myself want to sit down with them and basically say like, hey, let's organize this database and let's get some contacts going out to them. So I think we're going to kind of visit both sides. The folks that need a little help and don't have the contacts, but I guarantee you there's people within our arm's reach at Signature that we're not talking to. We want to see our agents benefit from that.
See, and I'm super excited too, because now like we have everything. And so if we sit down with an agent, I'm confident we could build a plan one way or another that you're going to be successful and fit into it. We have everything now. Everything about Signature is different than everyone else out there.
Let's go back to and reflect on just, personally, the two of you. I'd ask you both the question: what did you personally gain from this merger that made it worth it for you?
I'm excited again. I think when you think about what we do in real estate, our agents sell houses. And if you ever notice, when someone buys a new house, lots of times, if they're able to, they like to go and do all these repairs when they buy it. But then when you own a house for 20 years, for whatever reason, you never step out of it and go, I want to fix it. Right. So, I've owned GK. I had owned it for 11 years. And so you just don't go back under the hood again by yourself again. I'm always kind of tinkering. Like, in a way, I'm kind of starting over, and I'm excited to go to work. Not to say I wasn't before, but I'm really invigorated. Like, and I never had anybody that I wanted to make sure I was performing for. You know what I mean? I was my own boss. I was my own partner. I didn't have anybody. Like, I didn't want to let my team members down or my agents down, but like, literally, like, I don't want to let Brandon down. Like, and I don't want to let the signature agents down. So like, I'm just like, I'm hungry. I'm anxious. I'm excited. I want to win. I want to win. So I've got a lot of pep in my step, and I think that's what brought.
I think it's done the same for me. The pep in the step and stuff. As an entrepreneur, part of the excitement of any business is the build, right? The initial build. And then you get to a point where you get comfortable, right? And you kind of get comfortable in your systems and stuff like that. And that can lead to burnout, right? And so over time, if you don't continue to push yourself outside that comfort zone where growth happens, you just kind of get complacent, right? And I don't want to say I was getting complacent, but you get comfortable and you don't see the same growth. And so now this creates more of a level of accountability. I can hold myself pretty accountable, but like George said, you don't want to let that other person down. And you want to step up, and you want to make sure that you're carrying your weight. And so when you've got two people pulling in the same direction, it creates a movement, which gets more people behind it. And when you get that movement going, it becomes unstoppable. And so I'm super excited about the passion that's brought back in me. And I'm hearing it's bringing it back in George too. And I'm confident that's going to transfer down to the agents and everyone behind. I'm really super stoked to see where this goes. You know what I mean? And what it shapes in the future. I mean, just the interest from the people in the industry, the agents, the questions, like this is a movement. And I think there's a lot of people that are going to want to jump on board.
So for the agent right now, the agent company, what perceived value do you think they've already received from it? Like, if you just had to earmark one or two things. I mean, motivation's a big deal, by the way. You both said it. 80% of success in real estate is showing up, and you got to motivate yourself to show up. And so that's pretty important, so that the routine doesn't just become so mundane. But what do you think for the agents part of that? Same idea.
I'd say that the leadership signature, not to say it wasn't before, but one can only do so much. The leadership is aligned with the work and the passion that they have to carry on every day. They're out there hustling, and then we're going to be hustling right alongside of them. They literally have partners in Brandon and I and you as the GM. So, they're not doing this alone. So that would be my feeling.
Great point. Bring anything you want in?
I just think the same accountability that we're feeling, I think the same inspiration that we're feeling, I think the agents are getting the same thing. And it was apparent when you saw the turnout of the people that showed up at the open house.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, it's neat to see.
So if we look out over the next 12 months, as the company is upgraded and changes and evolves, what are the things like you're pointed at that you guys are focused on that you want to see happen?
I think
It's a lot. Go ahead.
Yeah, growth and efficiency, right?
Yep.
We want to grow and we want to be efficient. I think you have to grow in this market today. If you're not, a lot of smaller companies are probably feeling the pain. A lot of agents that aren't growing in the business are feeling the pain. And so growth is going to be important. And then efficiency, making sure that you're watching that bottom line. Make sure you're bringing the right tools in. You're not overspending for things that agents aren't going to use. And then implementing tools and stuff through training and the support and the lead systems and everything else to really give the agents a foundation to build upon. But we're focused on getting leaner, meaner, and stronger.
Oh, great way to say it. Leaner, meaner, and stronger. Sounds like me.
And better looking by hanging around with Chris.
Sure.
studies have shown.
Yeah, the same. And the other thing is, as agents at Signature here are saying we want to grow, I can almost hear someone say, well, how does that help me if we take our agent count from X to X plus? And what I would say is we want to bring on agents that want to work and want to be like culturally aligned with us and help folks buy and sell and, share the American dream and whatnot. So I don't want you guys to be thinking like we're trying to bring on any competition. These folks are out there working somewhere else already. They might as well work alongside you. And when they do, there's backside deals, there's more inner office inventory. There's just lots of culture that will come from that. So I don't want, anyone here thinking that bigger, it couldn't be better. It should be both. There could be more agents working at Signature and that all of us could be doing better units wise, So if you think about growing and then increasing productivity per agent, like it's a win-win for everybody. And ultimately that'll allow Brandon and I to give back more because there'll be more benefits.
Well,
Yeah.
and think about this though too. When there's talk of MLS is changing and private inventory listings and different things like that with companies, and you're going to want to be with a company that's going to be able to carry some listing inventory, because if that stuff changes, you're going to need stuff to sell, right? And so size does matter in this market, and I think you're seeing that by acquisitions and stuff happening across the country. You're going to have to be at a different size. But like George said, we're looking for people that want to grow and be part of something, that are going to put in the work. It's not about quantity, it's about quality and quantity. So good people, and I believe like attracts like. And so one of the biggest things for Signature growth-wise has always been our agents have brought in people, right? To come and work. And there hasn't been an incentive, like they're not getting stock, they're not getting anything else to bring people in. They truly like working here and they're bringing people to the company. And that's been our biggest thing. And so we're going to lean heavily on all of the agents out there to basically bring the people they want to work with.
It's interesting you say it like that because it's that collaborative magnet that agents, they want to bring people to be with them in an exciting venture, just like you two brought each other together for that purpose. It is true. I mean, we don't give crazy frills and things like that. They actually bring people they want to work with. And if you look at our roster, it's pretty incredible, the production and the activity and the history with the agents we have. I mean, there's so much value because of that collaboration and the environment you guys put it in. Let's talk about some of our programs. Brandon, you have completely overhauled our coaching program. You've given it a great foundation. The Tuesday and Thursday meetings that you're having. Talk about that in 12 months and what you see happening there.
Going to continue to expand it. We have a belief that if all we teach is real estate, we've failed. I think there's got to be balance. We want success is different for everyone, but for me, success is not just your sales. It's a well balanced life, and not working 24/7, and having time for your family and stuff, and not putting people off that mean the most to you, but being able to make a good living and be able to also enjoy your life. And so a lot of what we're coaching on is that type of stuff. And I believe when you get all that stuff in line, everything else becomes better. And you'll create more production and stuff when you get out of your own way that way. But we're looking at expanding it. Like we've got the 2 accountability calls, one Tuesday and one Thursday. We've currently got 2 role play calls, and they're different than any other role play thing that most people have been part of. In fact, we had my past coach, Alex, was actually on. He popped onto the accountability call and he stuck out like a sore thumb. Like he knows his stuff, but he wasn't in line with what we're teaching. And poor Beta was trying to lead that call and trying to, balance it. But it's different. We teach framework, we teach conversation, we teach communication skills, so that you're not convincing people. You're basically helping people make decisions, mastering communication. So there's a balance of a lot of different things and skills that we're teaching that is just different than the industry has always had. The other stuff works, but this is exciting and it's fun to be a part of.
I like that you use the word enhancement because that's how I see it. Like you can always learn new skills and new tools. George, I want to go to you on something you pointed out, and it's something foundationally I've always firmly believed. You got to have a great working database to be successful long term. And you said, be careful when the spigot shuts off. A lot of agents get one track, like they find one lead source. They only focus on that. I mean, we all saw the REO agents, doing 100 deals, and where are they now? We don't see them anymore, right? We saw the short sale agents. We don't see those very often anymore either. They're coming back. But you've diversified. You put a lot of coals in the water, if you will. How are you planning to help agents do that on a granular level to learn from your experience?
Funny you say polls because it is like fishing, and the mistake agents make is they don't catch a bite in the pond they're in, and they have to pack up the pole, the tackle, the bag, the backpack, the cooler, and by the time they walk to the new spot, those fish have moved again. So I think the simplest way is, and depending on what their database and how long they've been there, or who we can grab, is do the basics and get the people that know them and stay in front of them and remind them that they're in the business, and help them create some touch points and some reach outs and whatnot. That will never change. I promise you, AI, bots, ads, it will never, ever replace receiving a phone call or a visit from somebody who genuinely cares about them and remembers what they're going through in life and can tie down conversation to conversation. So, I think that pond will never dry up. And so I want to make sure we're teaching our agents how to go there. You can dabble and have a second pole in another little stream where there's some internet leads and some ad leads, but you should be able to pull that rod out fast and pack it up and move back to the main pond, which is your bread and butter all the time. So, that's what I want to help coach the agents to do.
So if you ask my perspective of what I've heard, what I've seen, what you guys have talked about, it will be almost impossible unless you want yourself to fail at Signature, because you have now answered every piece of the business. If you want to work a little bit on one source, we're going to help you. If you have your own sources, we're going to help you expand and increase your business. If you don't know what to say, we have trainings to help you figure it out. If you're not sure what to be doing, we have plans for you to jump into. Good plans that have great outcomes and proven track records. And so I think for me, if I was looking where I wanted to be as an agent, I want to be where business can always happen, and I can build, my personality into what I want it to look like. And so you guys have now created that environment.
So Chris, let me ask you this, because you build teams, right? And George, same thing. Based on what you're seeing and feeling at Signature, do you think this is a good place to bring a team?
I think it's an amazing place to bring a team because, when you really look at it, teams usually work on a split-based product, right? They have splits that go back and forth. And why do I have a team that's for collaboration? Like you guys just said, it's the excitement, it's the growth, it's doing something together. I think of that saying, a high tide raises all boats. That's what a team really does. And it's not for the sake of one person, it's the sake of a group of people. And I've always felt better doing it through that process. But the problem is you want to make sure the leadership is as involved with your growth as you are. And how could you guys get more involved than you are? You're there every day. You're in the offices. You're talking to your agents. You're collaborative. And I think a lot of companies lack the involvement of ownership to be that involved, in my personal humble opinion.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of teams out there that aren't profitable. And if you want to build a profitable team, I think being somewhere with somebody like George that has built a profitable team, and like you that has built profitable teams, if you want to build one, be around people that are doing it.
Yeah, we can help prepare a handbook roadmap on how to put one together for someone who's tried and didn't work at a place that really helped them structure it. I can tell you, opening a small brokerage and running, shy of 100 agents doesn't work. It just, you can't do it without scale. You can't even do it if you have 1,000 feet. It just doesn't pencil. It's too tough. So, if you're a 5, 10, 20, 100 agent group, it's easier to work at a shop like ours where, the costs are nominal and you get lots of benefits and lots of the benefits can roll down. I was meaning to jump in on something you'd asked Brandon about, what are we offering and what do we have? I think that we're only missing one thing. And so, and it's the toolbox. It's the actual box that the tools are carrying. We literally have every wrench, every socket, every drill, every file, every hammer, every ruler. We have everything. Well, we just need to find a way to kind of package it up and so we can carry it and stand on the table and go, here you go, open it up. Which tool do you want to take out? How many of the tools do you want? Which tools do you not know how to use? Like, I think that's what the three of us are kind of brainstorming. We have it all. But I think our agents and folks that are coming in, I think we got to work on, how we deliver the tools. And I think if everyone will just be a tad bit patient with us, maybe, a month or two, we can kind of get these in a box and say, hey, listen, are you 100% stand on your own? You don't want to be left alone. You just want to work with great people. Great. Boom, go over here. No, you want your handheld and you want to give up a little bit more, but you want to be talked to every day. You want to see us in the office, go over here. You're in the middle. You want to, we got to lay this out. It's a lot of working parts and it doesn't happen overnight. So I would just ask for a tad bit of grace and let everybody know, if you can feel my energy and excitement, I'm working at it, with the two of these gentlemen. And we're meeting again here soon after this to continue to hammer it down. So it's the toolbox. We're missing the actual box to put the stuff in because we have all the stuff.
Yeah, I'm back to working on weekends.
Yeah. It's that efficiency piece that you put together that when you bring things like this collaboration together, it's making sure you're not duplicating things, making sure that not only efficient, but upgraded version of what you have. As we kind of close this out, there's so much that's happening. There's so much that's happening in the Las Vegas real estate market. There's so much that's happening in the state, country, and things like that. I want to talk for a minute, just your perspective, both of you, as your role in the community, your role as an owner and leader here at Signature. What things do you think agents need to be extremely mindful of over the next, 30, 60 days as we go forward? What would you tell them?
I'll go. I'd like our agents to be the source of the news. I think the news is brutal. The clickbait from whether it's a newspaper or even the folks that interview me, they're always trying to say housing crisis, record inventory, and they're painting this picture of real estate. We're working in a very healthy market. It's a difficult market. There's not a lot of transactions, but tons of homes for buyers to buy and plenty of equity for a seller to sell. So I'd like our agents to be the source of the news. So they need to be in front of their database, basically debunking some of the grim news that's out there and basically being the sounding board for their customers and clients. I don't want our folks getting the news from the RJ, the Sun, Channel 3, 513, or Facebook. I want them to be the one delivering the news to their clients.
Great point, Raymond.
I think that's spot on. I mean, our agents, I'd like to see stay out of the negative drama of real estate and the real estate politics and all that kind of stuff, and really focus on positivity of the community. The market, yeah, it's tougher than it's been, but it's not a horrible market. If you go back through history, I mean, it's just not, right? It's just not what a lot of people have been used to. And so you can look at it and you can pick everything apart and be negative all day long, which I think there's plenty of that out there. But be the light, be the information, be the source, be the positive energy in our industry, because this is a great industry and people always need to buy and sell. And the only way that realtors work themselves out of that is through their attitude and the negativity. Otherwise, if you're positive and you're the trusted advisor and you really genuinely care about people and you care about the industry, I mean, that's what I like to see. And that's what I feel when I come into the office and I work around the agents that we have, is that positivity and the bright side of everything. And that fuels me. And so, yeah, like George said, be the one delivering the news and deliver it in the right way.
I think when you see changes in a marketplace like we've seen lately, you see increased opportunity. And it's a question whether you're going to take advantage of the opportunity or let it pass by. If I would have just bought Bitcoin in 2012, if I would have just bought Yahoo in 98, there's always that opportunity that comes forward. And I think that what happens is, all of the activities we're instructing our agents to do to go out and participate in are predicated on listing periods, right? The listing's on longer than a day. And all we see on Facebook is an agent saying, I sold the house in a day, I sold the house in a day. Now we're seeing those timeframes expand up to 60, 90 days. People are freaked out. To me, that's a huge opportunity. You can now predicate that you do have a property you can hold open. You do have a place you can call. Having a large company like this now, we have a ton of listings. We have a ton of ways that you can market yourself. And I think that's that news and that information that you're sharing is you out there in front of people becoming the expert. You two are experts. Like, I hate to tell you, but people look to you for advice in your influence. And how do you make it all come together? Like, how do you rationalize what you do every day? How do you decide?
I'm shifting a tad away from real estate, believe it or not, because I think a lot of our agents do know the basics, and I'm trying to shed some information outside about stocks, gold, crypto, rates, economy, global affairs, because your conversation with a consumer isn't going to be solely on the house and the 550,000. It's going to be life and everything else. So if you follow me, I'm constantly kind of like putting my toe in lots of things that I'm not an expert on. Lots of time I'm kind of repeating things I saw in a news story, but I'm trying to educate myself. And then so I feel like, yes, you want to be 100% knowledgeable and expert on real estate, but your sphere is going to have different interests. So if you can kind of cover a little bit of like current events, global events, a tad bit of politics, dead dangerous there, all these different things, sports, different things, you can't live under a rock. You have to be relatable. You have to be able to engage people. So I'm trying to kind of have a few more feathers in my cap for conversation. Should agents have those interests that want to join, or consumers that want to like get information on buying or selling. So I'm trying to kind of expand my reach by information that I'm putting out to people that's seeing like what might hook somebody.
Yeah. Brandon?
Yeah. What was the question?
How do you put it all together? Like, all of the things you have going on and these activities, how do you make it work?
You focus on the people. Like, this is a human business, right? You focus on the people and you understand this isn't about you or me or anybody else. It's about the consumer and the person that's out there, the agent that's working. And I just think just bring back the humanality of the whole thing. And that, to me, by having relationships with the agents and being able to have conversations with them and actually paying attention and caring, like that's what we try to teach our agents to do with their consumer, their clients, their database is come from a place of curiosity and slow down. You know what I mean? It's not always about more, it's about better. And start with just the human aspect. And I think that for me, it's just, I love the people I work with. I'm enjoying getting to know George even more, pushing his buttons a little bit, finding his quirks. He's finding my quirks. He's pointing out things that I didn't even know were quirks. It's cool. But the human side of it, that's what keeps me grounded, and that's what keeps me doing this.
So you guys both said it, and I think it's pretty impressive. It's about the people. It's about the clients that you serve, and it's about the people you collaborate with. And I think that the one thing I've got from today is that the grace and acquisition of new people and getting to know them and getting to know how we can help them grow their business is what we're all doing this for. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for sharing more on the subject. I know there's going to be more coming from it. And to the agents who are watching, I'm excited about what's happening. Brandon said it a little bit. It's not a merger, it's a movement. And it's just getting started. And so I think congratulations to you both again. And to the agents out there, remember, we're always reaffirming your success.
Before you go, though, Chris, one thing I want you to understand, and I want everyone to understand, we got to this point by the team and everyone in the hard work, both sides, right? It's not just me and George. Hey, this is a great thing and we're moving forward. You're a valuable part of this. You've been a valuable part of Signature to get where it has been, and you're going to be a valuable part through this series. So when you look at the leadership of this team, I mean, it starts with the three of us up here. There's a lot of responsibility here, but there's a lot of people behind us, from the staff, the office managers, sales managers, everybody that are part of this. And I don't want to overshadow it by us, but I just wanted to recognize them and make sure that we recognize you too, because you're not getting off the hook. You're working weekends too.
Yeah, I'll double down on it. I think although Brandon was a benefit and a blessing, the agents and the staff and all the folks at Signature, several times I've been in an event, I've looked around, I go, those are all Signature agents. Like, look at the way they gel together. They look different, ages, ethnicities, genders, all different interests. Like, crazy, like just the energy and the care. And so I'll close with this. Like, we're bigger and we want to grow. We want to be bigger and stronger, but we don't want to be a Walmart, right? We want to be like, what'd you say, like a Nordstrom's, when you walk in and you just feel like there's customer service, there's care. And if someone says, we can't find what you're looking for over here, let me walk you to another department. At Walmart, you don't get that, right? You got to walk the aisles and put in a thing. Yes, everything is there. It doesn't feel good. You know what I mean? I just feel like care and service and camaraderie ultimately is like what's going to define Signature.
Love it. Thanks, you guys, so much. Appreciate you.